Welcome to Biology My Passion. I am Soumya Harikrishna. Now we are learning the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variation, and we have been dealing with the deviations from Mendelian principles. We discussed incomplete dominance and also codominance. Let us discuss today pleiotropy and polygenic inheritance. So we know that there is a concept, or rather there was a concept, one gene, one enzyme hypothesis. That is, one gene has information for making only one protein. But there are certain exceptions where one gene product may have more than one effect. So that is called a pleiotropy. So gene is one, but the effect is more. That is called a pleiotropy. It is actually controlling various metabolic pathways, thereby bringing about different effects. So if a mutation occurs in that particular gene, multiple effects will be there, right? So in your textbook, we have got two examples of pleiotropy. First is the starch synthesis in pea seeds. Another one is a disease called phenylketonuria. Let us discuss starch synthesis in pea seeds. We know that starch is the stored form of carbohydrate in plants. After photosynthesis, they prepare glucose, but when they want to store it, they store it in the form of starch. So the size of the starch grains may vary from seed to seed. So what is determining the size of the starch seed? Nothing but a gene. So let us consider a gene B, which is responsible for the starch grain size, and its other allele is small letter b. So capital B is dominant, small b is recessive. So now look at a situation. If it is homozygous capital B, that means both the alleles are dominant, then what will be the size of the starch? It will be large in size. Okay. But if it is recessive, homozygous recessive, small b, then the starch size will be small. But if it is capital B and small b, that is heterozygous condition, we get intermediate phenotype. So this is an example of incomplete dominance, where when one dominant and recessive alleles come together, the dominant allele partially dominates the recessive one, producing an intermediate phenotype, that is called a incomplete dominance. So starch size is another example of incomplete dominance. So imagine a ball which is filled with the air and a ball which is not having much of air in it. So if a ball is filled with air, we know it is very turgid. Okay. Whereas if it is not there, it will be shrinking. So the same is applicable to the seed shape also. When large starch grains are produced by the plant, naturally the seed will become round and swollen because of the fill-in starch. So whereas if it is the small starch grains are there, definitely the seed will be wrinkled in shape because there is not enough starch to fill inside that. Whereas we know in the case of a seed shape, there are two alternative forms, round and wrinkled, which are studied by Mendel for his experiments. In that case, if it is a heterozygous condition, what is the phenotype? It is round only, not in incomplete dominance but complete dominance. Okay, so these two characters are controlled ultimately by this gene. The capital B and small gene has got two effects. First, it directly controls the starch size. That in turn determines the seed shape as well. So one gene product has more than one effect. So this is an example of pleiotropy. The second example for the pleiotropy is phenylketonuria. So here in this case, what is happening? In our body, phenylalanine is produced. Phenylalanine is nothing but an amino acid. So this phenylalanine gets converted into tyrosine, which is another amino acid. Okay, so for this conversion, what is required? Enzyme is required. So the enzyme responsible for converting phenylalanine into tyrosine is phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. So this is controlled by a gene capital P. Suppose this capital P gene is present, it will effectively produce the enough amount of enzyme which in turn will convert phenylalanine to tyrosine. But due to some mutation, if it is becoming small letter p, that is recessive, then the enzyme won't be produced. That is, phenylalanine hydroxylase, or we can short form say PAH enzyme, won't be produced. So in the absence of that enzyme, can phenylalanine become tyrosine? No, that process will not happen. As a result, what will happen? Phenylalanine will accumulate in our body. So the phenylalanine will accumulate, and some of the phenylalanine, instead of turning into tyrosine, will become phenylpyruvic acid as well. So large amount of phenylalanine, if gets deposited, it can lead to mental retardation because its deposition is coming in the brain. So it will lead to mental retardation on seizures. Seizures means a kind of epilepsy or convulsions, we can say. Tyrosine is an amino acid which is responsible for pigmentation. So if tyrosine is not produced, loss of pigmentation will be there, and the skin will be without color, means very pale skin and white hair, no pigment, and also lot of hair fall will be there, because these are the effects of tyrosine. So if one enzyme is not produced by this gene, multiple effects are there. Which are the effects? Mental retardation, pigment loss, hair loss. These are the direct effects of this metabolic disorder. So one metabolic pathway is getting disturbed, which will produce more than one effect. Other than that, the patients will have musty odor. Musty odor means it's a kind of unpleasant damp place we get a smell, right, where it is not ventilated properly. So their skin, urine, hair and all will smell like that because of the deposition of phenylalanine. And also they may have some behavioral problems. So this is also another example of pleiotropy where one gene is controlling many effects. Another deviation from Mendelian inheritance is polygenic inheritance. Polygenic. Poly means what? Many. Many genes are controlling one inheritance pattern. Okay. Or it is also called a quantitative inheritance. So here, as the name indicates, many genes control one character. It's actually opposite of pleiotropy. In pleiotropy, one gene had many effects. Here, one effect is controlled by many genes or more than one gene. Here it is different from multiple alleles. In multiple alleles, one gene had many different allelic forms. Here different genes, not alleles, but different genes are controlling their character. That, for example, each gene has got its own effect. So each one will be adding. Okay. For example, human skin color. So we know when Mendel did his experiment in the pea plant, he could find only two variations of flower color. Either violet flower or white flower, no other shades were there. But when we take human beings as an example, are we seeing only two shades around us, either dark or white? No, right? There are so many different shades of skin color. Though within a family, many members of the family may have different colors or skin tone. Right? No two people have exactly matching skin tone. So this is an example of polygenic inheritance. Or if you look at the height, are we all having either tall people or dwarf people? No, height also gradation is there. Whereas another situation where all the genes are recessive, all 6 alleles are recessive, then what happens? This will be as white as the white people, Americans or Europeans. Okay. Whereas there is an intermediate stage, that is 3 dominant and 3 recessive. We know each one is contributing. So 3 of them contributing, 3 of them not contributing. So exactly intermediate will come. They are called a mulattoes. Mulattoes are actually formed when a child is born to a white and a black person. Okay. So in that cross, the children are having an intermediate color, they are called a mulattoes. So the rest all will vary. For example, if it is capital A, small a, capital B, capital C, capital C, this person will be dark, very dark, but not as dark as this, right? Little lighter than that, okay? But if it is this way. So if you take skin color as an example, our skin color is controlled by set of 3 genes, not 1 gene, not 2 gene. We have 3 genes for controlling our skin color. But all polygenic may not be 3, 2 or more. Okay, we are taking an example skin in which 3. So for example, if this is the chromosome, okay. So we know here one gene will be there. For example, if it is blood group, one allele will be here, one allele will be here. That's it. Or if it is a pea plant, suppose flower color, violet here, white here, finished, right? But here it is not like that. Here one gene, here second gene, here third gene. All these three genes will be adding their effect in order to get the result. So, it depends on how much each one contributes. Right? So, suppose there are three people, like imagine you and your friends. Okay? So, there is a quiz competition where the maximum mark is 30. So, each one of you scoring 10, 10, 10 each, then the total score would be 30. Suppose your friend is failing to score full, he or she is getting only 5, so the total will be only 25. So everybody's contribution is counted. The same way here also, each gene contributes towards the character. That's called an additive or cumulative, adding up. Everybody's contribution is being added. It's not that, okay, you two do, I will sit quietly here. No, that won't work. So how is this happening? Suppose we have three genes. We take the alleles as capital A, capital B and capital C. Okay. Its recessive alleles are small a, small b and small c. We know skin color is due to pigment melanin. So if capital dominant alleles are there, they will produce more pigment, making the skin darker. If recessive alleles are there, less pigments will be produced, skin will become lighter, right? So here, suppose here a person has ABC, the other chromosome also ABC. So everywhere homozygous, that is purely homozygous dominant. So this case, the skin color will be the darkest shade or as dark as black people. Two recessive alleles are there, then he will be even lighter shade, dark brown we can say. So like that the shade is coming down, or this we can say, suppose A, capital B, small c, small c. So one capital B is there, little darker than pale white, okay. So like that the gradation can be there, but here we have to remember one thing, that is each gene or each allele is contributing towards the phenotype, or it is cumulative effect. And second thing, only with this the skin color cannot be determined. Suppose I cannot say that one person with a small a, small b, capital B, small c, and another one with a small a, capital A, small b. Both of them have only one dominant gene, but they may not be exactly the same shade, because skin color is a character which is also under environmental influence. It depends on the region where they live also. Okay, if they are in the tropical climate or temperate climate, all these should be taken into consideration. Skin color is an example of polygenic inheritance where many genes are controlling one effect. Another example is height. Hope you all enjoyed today's video, including pleiotropy and polygenic inheritance. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, Biology My Passion.